The night was colder than usual when little Amara pressed her face against the frosted window, watching the city lights shimmer like fallen stars. Outside, people rushed home with bags full of Christmas gifts, while inside their tiny apartment, her mother struggled to stretch the last bit of money for dinner. As the wind howled, Amara whispered, "Mommy, a broken bar. Do you think Santa still listens if you don't have a chimney?" Her mother, Aisha, forced a smile. "Santa listens to good hearts, sweetheart, and you have the brightest one." But as soon as Amara turned away, that smile fell. Bills were unpaid, her job had been cut a week ago, and Christmas was only 3 days away. She didn't even know how to put food on the table, let alone gifts under a tree they didn't have. That night, Amara pulled out a sheet of notebook paper and wrote with the dedication only a child of need could have. "Dear Santa Broken Bar, I don't need toys. I just want my mama to smile again. She works so hard, and she cries when she thinks I'm asleep. Can you help her? Even a little? Love, Amara." But Amara didn't know Santa's address, so she thought about the tallest building in Tona, the one her mother once said belonged to a man with more money than he could ever use. In a child's imagination, that could only mean one thing: Santa secretly lived there. So she folded the letter, drew a clumsy red hat on the envelope, and wrote, "Santa at the corner office, 8th top floor." The next morning, she slipped it into the building's shiny red mailbox while her mother wasn't looking. Up on the top floor of that very skyscraper, widowed CEO David Hale stared blankly at his computer screen, the cursor blinking on an empty email draft. The holidays had become unbearable since losing his wife, Claire, 2 years earlier. The cheer, the music, the lights, everything reminded him of what he no longer had. His staff tiptoed around him, and the board begged him to take time off, but David drowned himself in work because it was the only place the silence didn't hurt. When his secretary placed a stack of mail on his desk, the small envelope with childish handwriting stood out. "Sir, I found this address to ask Santa at the corner office." "I think a kid got creative," she said with a faint smile. David didn't smile back, but something in him stirred. He picked up the envelope. As he read the letter, his eyes softened at the first genuine emotion he had shown in days. A little girl wasn't asking for toys. She was asking for her mother's happiness. Something in those words cracked open the loneliness in his heart. That night, David couldn't sleep. The letter haunted him. A child out there thought the CEO of Hale Industries was Santa, and she wasn't asking for herself. She wanted hope for her mother. He remembered Clara saying, "If you ever have more than others, make sure someone else's life gets lighter because of you." The next morning, instead of riding straight to the top floor, David surprised everyone by stepping out of his chauffeured car in front of the red mailbox. He inspected it like it held the world's secrets. "Find out where this letter came from," he told his security chief. No explanation, no hesitation. Aisha was stirring a thin pot of porridge when she heard a knock at their door. She wiped her hands on a towel and opened it only to freeze. A man in a black coat stood there, snow gathering on his shoulders, a gentle but serious look on his face. "Good morning," he said softly. "I believe this belongs to you." He held up the letter. Amara gasped behind her mother. "Santa, you came." Aisha's eyes widened. "What is this? Who are you?" David knelt to Amara's height. "I'm not Santa Broken Bar, not exactly. My name is David Hale." Aisha's face went pale. Everyone in the city knew the name of the CEO of the largest company around. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. My daughter, she didn't mean it." "She meant every word," David said gently, "and her kindness moved me." Aisha didn't know what to say. Bills were scattered on the table behind her, the stove barely working, the apartment dim. She felt exposed, embarrassed, overwhelmed. David turned to her. "Your daughter asked for just one thing." At that, you smile again. His voice softened. "Is there anything I can do to help you get back on your feet?" Aisha shook her head, tears welling. "I don't want charity. I just a broken bar. I just want a chance." "That," David said, "is exactly what I came to offer." Over the next hour, he truly listened as Aisha explained losing her job, taking care of Amara alone, and scrapping through each month. David didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He just nodded, absorbing every word. Then he said, "I can give you an opportunity at Hale Industries, a position that matches your skills. Stable, long-term." Aisha covered her mouth, stunned. "Why a broken bar? Why would you do this for us?" David pulled out the letter and looked at Amara. "Because your daughter reminded me what Christmas is supposed to mean. She reminded me of my late wife. Yeah, her kindness, her compassion. I think a broken bar. I think I needed this more than you know. In the weeks that followed, everything began to change. Aisha started her new job and flourished. Amara lit up every room she entered, and Alvita, once a man drowning in grief, found himself looking forward to going home early just to visit them, to share dinner, to listen to Amara's endless stories. One snowy evening, Amara tugged on his sleeve. "Mr. Davide, broken bar, can I tell you a secret?" He leaned down. "Of course, you kind of are Santa," she whispered. "Not because of gifts, but because you made Mama happy again." And for the first time in years, David let himself really smile. "Then I guess I should thank you, Amara, because you gave me something too. You gave me Christmas back." As the camera of your YouTube viewers imagine snow falling softly over the city, the story closes with Aisha laughing again, Amara decorating a tiny Christmas tree, and David standing beside Ayman, not as a CEO, not as a stranger, but as someone who found family in the most unexpected way. So if you're watching this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like these remind us that kindness travels farther than we ever imagine. And sometimes a broken bar, all it takes is one letter of hope to change two lives at once.